The full roster of Tekken 8 has finally been revealed, and rather than celebrating it, like the insane Tekken fans we are, we immediately start asking for more and wondering who the DLC characters of this game will be. And I'll be the first to admit, this has been on my mind for a while. Especially because the Tekken 8 roster is the smallest roster since Tekken 5. While a smaller roster will definitely be interesting for the game's competitive scene and will likely encourage more thought-provoking, honest gameplay, as those who are actually interested in learning matchups will be able to learn the majority of the cast far faster than ever before. Unfortunately though, this will probably only last for a short while, as we know based on every other Bandai Namco game that there will be DLC, and let's be honest, it will be overpriced. In this video, we're going to be attempting to predict the Tekken 8 DLC in its entirety. We're going to be going by season passes and assuming each season has 4 characters, as per the graphic that Bandai Namco put out earlier on their Japanese account. Now, before we begin, I want to talk about the developers of Tekken, Bandai Namco, and a certain tendency they tend to have. I'm just going to go out and say it. They have problems when it comes to DLC balancing, and have in multiple occasions, for multiple different games, released DLC that basically destroyed the game for a certain period of time. Or forever in the case of Smash Ultimate, but we don't talk about the blocky fucker. I'm really hoping they tone their DLC down in Tekken 8. I'm all for cool characters with new mechanics and even cool top tiers, but characters that fundamentally alter the game will always be alienating for the competitive player base. Think of the 2D characters in Tekken, or Steve and Kazuya in Smash Bros. Not every new mechanic is a good mechanic, and I honestly just don't think it's necessary. So we'll be assuming that no characters will be added with separate systems. Sorry Geese, my love. Really quick before we begin the predictions, look at this stat. This stat is fucking depressing, okay? If you guys enjoyed this video and are interested in more Tekken 8 content, I have way more videos in the works. I'm making character guides, scripted content, lots more. So if you're into that kind of stuff, please consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps me out a lot. Anyway, let's begin. So like I said before, they've confirmed they're going to continue their Season Pass model in Tekken 8. So let's begin with the very first Season Pass. I've been thinking a lot about the proper DLC character to add to this game, especially because all the hype is going to be coming into the new game, and they know there's a lot on the line for this announcement. And honestly, I think they're going to play it relatively safe. I think the first DLC character in the game will be Armor King, and you guys can quote me on that. Honestly, I'm insanely surprised that he wasn't included as a pre-order bonus or something for the base game. We've seen his popularity absolutely skyrocket in Tekken 7, and it's honestly a little frustrating that they're reselling a fan-favorite character again. But I'm almost certain this is going to happen, at least eventually. I've seen some people say that King incorporating some of Armor King's moveset means that he definitely won't make it into the game, but they also said the same thing about Jin, and oh look, there's Devil Jin. Armor King just seems like a lock for me. It's just free money for them, and everyone's going to be happy about it because this character is so popular and so many people just want to play him. I do think we're going to get a bunch of new characters to the DLC, mainly because of the very small amount of newcomers in the base game, but I do think they're going to wait a little bit in attempts to spread out hype rather than dump it all at once. I've seen some people saying the first DLC pack should be all new characters, but I highly doubt they'd even do that. So, my first prediction is going to be Armor King. I think the next character will be another returning character, and this is one people have been discussing a lot, and that's Ogre. He was briefly shown in one of the game's story trailers, and people have been debating if that means he'll have a larger role in the story, and I think he will. This is realistically another instance of a character who really should have been in the base game, but I think he's going to return and he's going to be great. He wasn't particularly popular in his past games, but I think with Jun coming back and the kind of theme Tekken 8 is going for, Ogre seems like a pretty safe inclusion. Honestly, I've been thinking about other characters from previous games, and the more I think about it, the more surprised I am that Kazumi Mishima didn't make it into Tekken 8. Canonically, she was long dead in Tekken 7, so I don't think the she's dead and not coming back argument makes any sense, especially considering other characters are starting to come back, despite not having a big relevance in the story. And this isn't even to mention her popularity. She was a really well-designed character, and actually the character I first started out with in 7. She was great for newcomers because of her simplicity and how she teaches Tekken fundamentals, but was also a competitive staple because of how far you could go with her with said fundamentals. I honestly think Kazumi is an amazing character to add back, and her popularity speaks for itself. She was an honest, fundamental character and was universally loved, casually and competitively. Like seriously, does anyone really hate fighting Kazumi? Like, come on bro, you just suck. I think they're going to end the first season pass with a bang, and they're going to reunite the two Mishimas. It's of course going to be Heihachi. It just makes sense, especially considering at this time, most people will have completed the story mode, so having him in the game won't be weird for newcomers because of all the story implications. I can't see any possibility of him not making it back at all in this game. It's Heihachi, it's basically Mr. Tekken, and even if his role in the story may be over, he's still a big part of Tekken and its legacy, and he deserves to be here. Heihachi will close the first season, and hype is going to be at an all-time high, and it's only going to continue with the next season pass, which I think yes, this one will feature exclusively new characters. Yep, I predict they're going to get the most popular legacy characters out of the way in the first season, and then give us a barrage of newcomers to ensure the maximum level of hype for their game. I think it'll most likely start with a guest character, probably announced at EVO or something, And I've seen some people say that guest characters won't come back, but I just can't see it at all. They performed incredibly well and drove sales like crazy in 7. They were loved by the casual community, and I think as long as they don't add more 2D characters, they're going to be loved by the competitive scene as well. Now let's get the most commonly requested ones out of the way. No, I don't think Kiryu will make it in, and Harada basically said as much. He's too much of a gentleman. And while some people think he's just trying to throw us off, I don't think we'll see him in this game, unfortunately. Now, another big one that's going to be going around has been Tifa. I'm not exactly sure why Tifa is the character of choice for Tekken 8, probably because of her mostly martial arts combat, but that didn't stop us from getting characters like Noctis and Negan, so that's not really a requirement in modern day Tekken, especially with characters like Victor recently as well. And out of all the possible Final Fantasy VII characters, I know Tifa would be the most fucking gimmicky and annoying to fight in ranked battle, so out of spite, I'm choosing Barret as my first prediction. Fuck Tifa. I know she's gonna have 1,000 bullshit strings and she's just gonna cheese everyone. Barret's gonna be the first brand new large character in Tekken 8, and honestly, I feel like he has an insane amount of moveset potential. It'll probably be Tifa though, I just don't want to manifest it by making the prediction. Send help. Full bias incoming. My most wanted character is Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil 4, but the more I think about it, if there ever was going to be a Resident Evil character, I feel like it would probably be Chris. He just seems way more fitting of the Tekken gameplay. He's been in way more games, and I don't know, I can see him being such a great addition to Tekken. So I'm going to predict Chris Redfield will be the first huge surprise character. Hey man, I gotta go out on a limb sometime. Just let me dream. Some other popular requested guest characters include Ryu. No, not that one, the one from Ninja Gaiden. Some new King of Fighters rep, probably Rock Howard, or maybe even Iori. Akira from Virtua Fighter, and I'm probably missing like 1,000 more. Realistically, any of these are possible, as Tekken 7 broadened the scope for Tekken characters so much. Like games like Smash, we know the guest characters are limited to characters that are from other gaming franchises, but we have fucking Negan from The Walking Dead in Tekken. So really nothing's off limits. It could be fucking Goku. It's going to be really hard to predict guest characters because we're basically going on nothing and just making shit up, so I'm going to leave my predictions for guest characters there. Speaking of going out on a limb and making shit up, I predict the last 2 characters of the Season 2 DLC pass will be 2 brand new characters to the Tekken series. Like I said before, we've had a really small amount of new characters in the Tekken 8 roster, so they're for sure going to add some newcomers. The first character is going to be from the Samoan Islands, and Tekken is going to rip off Maui just like Overwatch did. He's going to look shockingly similar to these two, and his name is going to be... Let's see, we have Maui, and then we have Malga. His name is going to be Michael. And you can quote me on that. Hey man, if Blizzard can steal the design, why not Bandai Namco? I predict the next character is going to be a Canadian fighter. I'm literally just choosing Canada because I'm Canadian, and I'm really making a shot in the dark here, but fuck it, we're guessing. He's going to be a tall special agent character, kind of like Victor, but more Canadian. I don't know, maybe he'll wear a winter coat and be super polite. His name will be... Fuck it, let's Google it. Most popular Canadian names. Fuck it, his name will be Luke, why not? The next 2 season passes will probably go back to having a mix of newcomers and veteran returning characters, but fuck making up newcomers. Let's talk about some more likely returning characters that are going to make it into the game. A big one that I haven't seen many people talk about is Bob. He was one of the most popular characters in Tekken 6, and I always thought he remained a fan favorite in 7, but I guess no one really played him? I know he's more of a Western enjoyed character. Wow, I wonder why. But I think he'd be a really cool addition to Tekken 8's DLC. Why not? Maybe they'll even add Slim Bob to mix it up and get the rest of the world to like him. Going back to the Tekken 7 DLC, I think Fakum Ram and Lydia should make their return. Fakum Ram was obviously insanely broken when the game first launched, but over time, and ridiculous nerfs, they really toned him down and honed his own identity. Not to mention, he was also one of the most played characters in the later seasons of Tekken 7. This was another character that I would have bet money on returning, but I guess they didn't feel like it was necessary and wanted to trim out all of the fat on the base roster. And another DLC character who I thought would return is Lydia. She was actually one of my favorite original characters in the DLC, and while she wasn't insanely popular, I think she was a really cool character and I'd like to see her back. I've seen a lot of people hoping characters like Roger return, and I'm just gonna be honest. Fuck that. These 2 fuckers are enough animals for this game. And that includes you, Kunimitsu. Nah, in all seriousness, I could definitely see Kuni coming back, be it the original or the new one in Tekken 7, as she was pretty popular, and I know she's very popular in Tekken 7 competitive play now. It's definitely a very likely possibility. I'm sure I've missed a ton of other characters as well. I could see Eddie making it back, fuck my life. Julia would probably do well, and maybe even Marduk. I could be here all day, but these characters are the ones I'd want to see the most in Tekken 8 DLC, and probably the most likely. Again, these predictions are just for fun, and there's really no way to accurately predict this stuff. It's just a good time. But who do you guys think are going to be added to the DLC? I'd love for you guys to go down in the comments and let me know your lists. I'll be down there responding as much as I can. So that's going to be about it for this video. If you guys enjoyed and want to see more stuff like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. It only takes you 3 seconds and it helps me out a lot. I have a lot more content planned, including more character guides, more scripted content like this, and some more surprises, so stay tuned. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay safe out there.